Welcome to Homeschool Leader. We're going to be talking about what is homeschooling, what is unschooling, and what is school at home. I don't recommend that third one. We're going to talk about why right now. Hey there, homeschool leaders. Just wanted to give you a quick distinction today. The difference between homeschooling and unschooling, and then something about the school at home. And these are all my definitions. You're welcome to make your own definition. I do recommend you do that because after all, as homeschoolers, what we're doing is we're pursuing an education, and that is something that you cannot give to your child. That is something you can facilitate and allow for your child to acquire for themselves. So what is homeschooling? Homeschooling is when a leader creates an atmosphere where learning can occur, specifically personalized learning. And so that's what homeschooling is. What is unschooling? Unschooling is when you have 100% self-directed learning, where there's no forced curriculum, not even a strict curriculum. You as the parent are actually allowing the student to pursue what they want to pursue, and you are coming in with your own guidelines and strict protection there if you choose, but ultimately the student is in charge of their own learning. You as the wise parent or uncle or grandfather or teacher are helping facilitate what is going to be beneficial for them in your own best interest. Now, one of the last things I want to talk about is school at home, because when you talk about homeschooling, it can get conflated with school at home and homeschooling. Well, given that homeschooling is when a leader creates an atmosphere where personalized learning can occur, school at home is when you literally take the curriculum or something similar from these 4 schools and you bring it to your table in your kitchen or your living room or the den or outside, whatever. You say, okay, now it's time for math. We're gonna do math for an hour. And then it's gonna be language arts for an hour, and they're gonna be done for homeschooling. No, please be clear. This is school at home. It's your choice, it's your child, it's your student, so you're welcome to do whatever type of approach that you choose. School at home is definitely better than homeschooling, or excuse me, school at home is definitely better than traditional forced school, where the student is mandated to be there and mandated to have curriculum. However, of the 3 options which we have, which is school at home, I don't recommend that one. The middle one is homeschooling, where you create the atmosphere and you allow the student to pursue what they're interested in, whereas unschooling is 100% self-directed learning. Now, I consider homeschooling and unschooling to be very similar because in my sense, I'm not going to conflate school at home with homeschooling. This is a very important distinction. You have to get back to the reasons. Why are you homeschooling? Why did you remove your student from the forced government monopoly school system? And I would surmise, I would guess, that you want your child to have a great education. So again, going back to definitions and what is relevant for you in your life, what does education mean to you? And this is something you might have to spend some time to really reflect upon and think about, because it's not an easy answer, because everyone is unique. Just like your DNA, your thumbprint is all unique, 1 out of 7-8 billion people on this planet. So an education in general for me is those learnings, those thinking habits, and those actions that you take, or your student takes, your child takes, to create a good life. And then going down to the definition, what is a good life? Okay, so these are things you need to think about as a homeschool leader. However, whether you're considering homeschooling or you're homeschooling now, you're new, you've been in it for a long time, the key thing I think is to recall is that nobody can give you an education. This is what the great John Gatto had helped us remember, is that an education is something you have to go get for yourself. And just like if me and my buddy, we want to get fit and get exercise and get the beach bod, for this summer, we both can go to the gym, but it's my responsibility to do my fitness regimen and exercise, and it's his job to do his fitness regimen and exercise. We can go together. Ultimately, it's his responsibility. And so that's what I want to help you understand for your student as they are pursuing their own education. You can't give it to them. It's nothing you can take and go buy at Costco or buy at Walmart or something, say, hey, here's an education, memorize this, download this, and now that is an education. They have to do their own intellectual exercises, their own mental lifting, their mental workouts. And so you, as a parent or guardian, you have explored or pursuing or practicing homeschooling, and that's the most powerful educational model that I believe is proven, definitely in the last 1,000, 4,000 years, right, before compulsory schooling, right? In the U.S. is 1852, and in Germany is 1819. So that's the key thing to remember there. Now, so as a homeschool leader, created an atmosphere, what type of atmosphere do you want to create? Or what is the best atmosphere, ideal atmosphere for personalized learning? The first one is safety, right? If your child does not feel safe, wherever you are, today we're at the park, I feel pretty safe out here, but if they're at home or they're at maybe your workplace or in some warehouse or something and they don't feel safe, then that's going to hurt their learning, because you have the fear in the mind, which can damage the learning, right? We have our fight or flight or fight mechanism, and that can really damage our learning in the present moment. The other part is have a respectful environment. One of the failings of the forced school system is that it doesn't allow the student to study what they want to do, right? It's forced. So if you're going to homeschool, I invite you to allow them to choose their own curriculum, their own course of study, right? That's what curriculum means, a course, a path, and their own books. And so it's kind of a phase. Generally, after maybe a year or two of homeschooling, mom or dad normally transition into unschooling, right? Because before even the homeschooling phase, there's a deschooling phase. And the quick summation about that is that deschooling is where you have to let your child unwind from the irrelevant and unnecessary forceful environment at these government schools. So the rule of thumb there is that you want to allow 1 month of basic total freedom for every year that they're in the school system. Just like when you wind up a rubber band, like with a pencil or something, and you let the pencil go and it goes and it flies off. That's the same thing what's happening in your child's mind. They've been in this environment and you want to deschool them first. So from deschool to homeschool to unschool, and I find unschool and homeschool so important because this allows the self-direction of your child. And so the recommendations for unschooling is to facilitate and to coach. And that can be true for homeschooling as well. So don't get too confused about the homeschooling and the unschooling part of it, but they're both very similar in that essence of it. And you want to be sure you can get on board with that philosophy. And then the last one is school at home, right? I don't recommend this for anybody. However, if it's some anxiety that you're dealing with, they're having a tough time at school and you just want to remove them and begin the schooling process, then by all means, go ahead and do school at home. But the ideal is unschooling and then even homeschooling, right? Where you're creating the environment, but both of them allow for you to be a coach, allow for you to be a leader, and rather than a dictator, you want to be an inspirational leader. You want to be somebody that is the source of their safety, of their comfort, and then whether they're 6 years old or 8 or 10 or 12, at some point they are going to strengthen their wings, their intellectual muscles. And rather than depend upon you to facilitate, they will pretty soon kick you out of the way metaphorically, right? So just like, okay, you're gonna get math, you got in the beginning, you're not so sure what to do. However, after a year or two, your confidence will increase. And that's really the obstacle that I find in coaching parents, helping families create educational success programs. It's normally mom or dad who are like, ooh, he's gonna get behind. And I think what's important for you to understand is that there is no behind, okay? What is this normal life that everybody's supposed to have? Everybody learns at different times, at different phases. So your job is to understand your child, which you do better than anybody on the planet. You were giving birth, or you adopted, or whatever you did, you took guardianship, and now you know your child better than anybody. So, as a powerful unschool leader, homeschool leader, you're a good listener. You're a good question asker. And you actually pay attention to what they need because this is their first rodeo. So whether you're in your teens or your 20s or your 30s or your 40s, your child, this is their first time. Let's assume that they're 10 years old or 11 or somewhere around this age. They're still figuring it out. So if you can reflect to when you were a young person, and maybe even now, I'm in my 30s, I'm still trying to figure stuff out and understand and seek knowledge and seek wisdom. They are too, whether it's subconsciously or consciously, they are curious. They want to learn. And so I would encourage you, whether you have dreams of them become doctors, lawyers, artists, musicians, or ideally just a happy, healthy, productive person, then you allow them to grow their self-knowledge and to pursue what they're interested in. And then if they're in a respectful environment, they will naturally begin to develop as an adult. And then we'll talk about some of that on the next videos. So just in summation, we want to go over what homeschooling is, what unschooling is, and school at home. Homeschooling is when the leader creates an atmosphere where learning, personalized learning, can occur. Unschooling is 100% self-directed learning, and school at home is when you take the curriculum from school and you do it at home. And I don't recommend that last one, but it's better than having them in a forced compulsory system where they don't have any freedom. They got to raise their hand to go to the bathroom, and we're after an education. So we're going to talk about that on the next video also. Be sure you make some comments, share, subscribe, like, and I'll see you on the next video. Wishing you much success as you homeschool your student and have them pursue an education that they're excited about and they love. Thanks guys, we'll see you next time. Bye.